Why, hello and welcome everybody. It is Pohx again. So today, what I wanted to show you in this video is kind of going back and revisiting an old game that I used to play called JK You Died, LOL Noob Shit, Get a Better Build. This game is called Grim Dawn, which I have actually put in quite a bit of time into it, about 250 hours over the course of just, about 2 years or so, watching the game develop over and over again. And the game does have a hardcore mode, as you just saw there. This was the last boss of the campaign in ultimate difficulty. You can see up at the top. He's by far not the hardest boss, but he does have a shotgunning mechanic in Grim Dawn, or in Grim Dawn, kind of like in PoE, which actually caused my character to instantly die, even bypassing my threshold. So basically, like, think of Diablo 3. I know I don't like referencing but Diablo 3, but think of Diablo 3 of how, like, say if your character drops below 30% life, you heal fully and become immune. Well, I got to 30% life, but I was actually at like 31% and then got killed past the threshold, so it didn't proc. So I was kind of sad. That character alone right there in Grim Dawn had over 100 hours on it. So I was a little depressed to kind of see it go. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Grim Dawn and kind of explain it, because I understand it's very hard for everyone to stay up to date with the YouTube, and I don't expect everyone to, especially when I'm hopping from game to game to game. So I do want to give you guys a little bit more of a rundown on Grim Dawn, and I will tell you guys straight up 100% off the bat that the game was released a few months ago. The game is pretty much complete in its essence. But there is still so much more to be done with the game. I do believe they have an expansion coming out soon with a new mode called Survival Mode, which is always kind of interesting to think about. Let me go ahead and just pop in and kind of explain a little bit about the game for you guys. I also do want to let you know that tomorrow on the stream, so that's later today, or I guess technically it is today, I'll be streaming Grim Dawn, and then either I'm going to get off and do a split, and I'm going to play a new game called Hero Wars, which is a like ARPG MMO MOBA. It's fucking weird. Probably only be playing it for a couple days, but it's kind of like a crazy Korean grind hack and slash arcade style. I honestly don't know what the fuck it is, but it's Hero Wars with a Z if you guys are interested to check it out at all, and that'll just be something fun to pass the time, and of course I'll YouTube it and whatnot. So let's talk about Grim Dawn really fast and kind of why I like it and why the game, really it means a lot to me. So first off, in Grim Dawn, I will state that it has a tri-class system. The game says multi-class system, it actually has a tri-class system. So you have, for example, I'm playing two characters right now. I've got a soldier and a shaman. So all squares in Grim Dawn are active abilities. All circles are either passives or are buffs to augment that active ability. Grim Dawn is all based around proc chances in the game. It doesn't matter what kind of character you play, everyone is going to be reliant on some type of procs. What procs are is basically a chance that when you hit or you deal damage or some type of random thing occurs to basically use said attached skill or spell or buff. So you can basically create your entire character, like in Path of Exile, around one skill if you choose to, but chances are that's not going to happen. Chances are you're going to have oh shit buttons, you're going to have buffs, you can weapon swap avidly, and you have the devotion tree, which is basically your third class. Now, obviously a soldier in any game would be different than a shaman, and a shaman would be different from a wizard, and vice versa. So the classes that you choose are obviously, you're going to be completely different than the person next to you. But the devotion tree, what the devotion tree is, you can see there's a bunch of constellations here, and all these little purple effects here are augments that you can attach onto skills to give them additional buffs. Now, the way this works is, the reason why I count this as a third class is you can choose to do whatever you want on this. You can go offensive on your devotion tree, you can go defensive on your devotion tree, you can go, like resistance, you can go max HP, you can go sustain, you can literally do whatever you want. And the reason why that's so cute, so cool, and so designed so perfectly is because you can make the combination you want with your dual class, and then you can fix it for what you're missing with the devotion tree. So you can pick two damage classes, get the buffs for mitigation, but get raw HP from the tree, from the devotion tree. You can make a double tank, spec into all procs, and then further enhance it with your devotion tree. There's so much you can really add from this, and it offers such a great deal of customization. The way it works, just simply put, is you have 5 different affinities. You've got Ascendant, Chaos, Eldritch, Order, and Primordial. And if you hover over them, obviously you can see all of these on the tree, which ones they are, and they'll require a certain amount of affinity to unlock them. And again, these are huge, huge, huge buffs. So for example, I'm going to go actually, one of my favorite ones is Behemoth down here. So Behemoth, I don't remember where you start. I'll just say you start here. 10 health regen per second. For people who don't know numerics, it's not that much. All right. 300 flat health. All flat health will scale with percentage health, so that's very good. Giant's Blood, probably one of the most insane buffs in the game. You attach this to anything you do. So say you're playing Path of Exile, say you use Wrath, right? Wrath is your aura. Well, because Wrath is an aura that you're using, you could attach Giant's Blood to Wrath. So now anytime you have Wrath running, which would be forever, it has a chance to proc Giant's Blood. And this is a level 1 of, I think, 15 or 20 skill. And you can see it heals you by a percentage of health, a flat amount, and then gives you regeneration per second during the duration. And of course, these values all vary as it would scale up. Vice versa, you could get something like, what is this, Magi? This is Blind Sage. Here's a skill, for example. Elemental Seeker has a 100% chance on attack. The Elemental Seeker scale with player damage bonus. It has a 1.5 second skill recharge, 1 meter radius. The Elemental Seeker attributes, I don't know what that is, blank, it lives for 5 seconds. His abilities are Burning Presence, which deals in a 3 meter radius, 102 elemental damage. And it also has the ability to detonate. So you can see that they're very cool. And again, this would be attached to an offensive skill, not an aura like Wrath. This would be attached, for example, if you play Path of Exile, something like Lightning Arrow. You can only attach one at a time to that said skill. That doesn't mean you can't have more than one at a time. You could have Elemental Seeker on Lightning Arrow, and then you could have Howl of Mogragen on Blast Rain, while putting Giant's Blood on Wrath. And now you have 3 different procs. And that's how the game works, which is really cool. It almost promotes you to use multiple abilities without even saying anything about it. Now I want to explain some other things about Grim Dawn. So everything can be respec in the game. The more you respec, the more expensive it gets. The only thing that cannot be respec is your attributes and your passives. I'll think of this as like a job level. I don't know exactly what it's called. It's basically the overall level for that class that you picked. So as a soldier, I've got 15 points invested in the base, and this doesn't fuck you over at all because, you know, it gives you 420 health. Hashtag Blaze it. Can we get a hashtag Vape Nation in chat, please? No, but anyway, you can see it gives you flat stats, which are good because there are gear requirements in this game. Moving onward, that unlocks the ability to unlock the other points in there. Now, the other thing about Grim Dawn, which gets really, really cool, is the amount of stats the game has to offer and the way that legendaries work in the game. So on my character that was level 85, or 75, 85, I forgot what level the max level is, I spent quite a great deal of farming. Again, I had 100 hours on that character, and I have farmed a crap load of legendaries, a crap load, and I'm going to give you an example of what some of them do. Now, I will state right now that every single legendary piece that you get or you acquire, which could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Each one is paired with its own proc / effect or skill. So you can have up to like 20 plus different procs, which I think is awesome because it's really unique. So, for example, let's look at a weapon. This is a level 50 weapon called the Guillotine. It does bleed damage over time, has crit damage. Now, of course, all of these values will roll randomly, except for the +1 to all skills. That's static. And then, of course, the granted skills. So these all have their own roles, just like Path of Exile. If you look at the wiki, you can see how the numerics vary. So there is always that grind going. Now, you can see what it gives, and then at the bottom, it has a granted skill. Revel in Death, 20% chance on enemy death to gain the buff, etc., etc. So that is one really cool thing about it, that you just get so many different things, and you can get insane weapons, absolutely insane weapons. So like, for example, if I hover over Mind Warp, you can see at the bottom it says 14% of physical damage converted to Aether. You can get a weapon that has, for example, 80% of cold damage converted to fire. So you have build-enabling items like that, and then you even do have legendary sets as well. Not only can you do that, you can also craft legendaries, but when you're crafting, it becomes very RNG, because again, you're rolling between the stats, and certain legendaries you craft can have an additional stat. And for people who really enjoy crafting, the best in slot item, which of a relic, which would be this bottom left, is only acquired through crafting. the amount of time invested to acquire that item is probably going to be a minimum of 18 to 24 hours. Again, I know that sounds a bit extreme for some people, but of course you don't have to acquire that at all. So an example of an endgame craft, which is what I was trying to get on my Conjurer who died, I was more than halfway done with it. I was trying to craft a Necrosis. Now to craft a Necrosis, you can see the required items that you need, but you also need a Corruption. So if we look at a Corruption, let's go ahead and craft a Corruption, which is right over here, which doesn't require much. It needs a Vitriol Gallstone plus an Anti-Venom, Blood of Chthon, etc., plus 15k. Alright, that's not that bad. Let's look at Torment. Okay, so we gotta craft a Torment, so let's look. Torment requires you to craft a Squall, a Corruption, and a Guile, and then so on. And then if I go back to a Necrosis, this is considered a mythical relic, which is the highest tier of relic you can craft. It requires a Scourge. So you would assume that, you know, trying to craft a mythical relic would be pretty insane, right? Did you know that a Scourge is also a mythical relic? Which means that the Scourge is going to require a Ruination and a Death Chill. But did you know that a Ruination and a Death Chill... Well, Ruination is not that hard, but a Death Chill, for example, would require you to, again, acquire a Guile, a Glacier, and a Gunslinger's Talisman. So you can see it kind of just overlaps and overlaps. And I like that to an extent because it adds an endgame to crafting. And I'll explain how Grim Dawn's farming and kind of the end game works and why I think it fits the game very well. And if you don't want to do that, of course you don't have to. You can just go with, for example, a tier below. And, you know, say, God forbid, you know, if you have 13 pieces of gear, one of them isn't best in slot, you could totally farm for it. Now, when you get to the highest difficulty in Grim Dawn called Ultimate, I don't know if this applies 100% to the other ones, but once you get to that point in the game, everything essentially scales to your level, meaning you can walk outside of Devil's Crossing and all the mobs will be scaled to 85 to 90 basically. And as you progress through, they'll get up to, I think, like 100 or something, depending on it, which means that you can literally farm anywhere you want. So Grim Dawn is made up by a bunch of different, basically, areas that deal different elemental damage or I don't know, damage types. So you've got your standard resists of fire, cold, lightning, which is your elements. Then you have poison, pierce, bleed, vitality, aether, stun, chaos, which are all different types of damage. I think stun is the only one that's not an actual damage. It's different. And then you've got secondary stats. Your secondary stats would show block chance, damage block, block recovery, dodge, reflect, fizz resist, disruption resist, life leech resist, energy leech resist, trap resist, petrify resist, freeze resist, sleep resist, slow resist, and then retaliation for actual reflect. And again, these are all things that it's so awesome to see so many mechanics coming together and they actually all play a role in the game basically. And this is one reason why I really like it. And again, because you can pretty much farm in any area that you like, it makes it really cool. So say you want to spam run the first boss. That's okay, you know why? Because he drops an item called the Tainted Brain Matter, which is used for crafting endgame items. And if it's not used for crafting it, it's in the same tier as the other materials, and you could convert it over. So farming the last boss here called Warden is also basically equivalent to doing something like farming another last boss because of the items you get. Now, the other thing about it is you'll end up seeing these things called Nemesis bosses as you progress through the game. It's part of the end game of Grim Dawn, and I could show you a clip here, but I don't have it right now, so I'll probably make another video explaining Nemesis bosses. And Nemesis bosses are ultimate bosses that are gained after basically maxing out reputation with an enemy, like so negative reputation. And these bosses have like 10 to 15 spawn locations basically around the world, and they spawn once per game, so you have one of each type. So one from Ethereal, etc., etc. And one of the spawn locations would be like the first boss, the first main boss. So there's so much overlapping kind of content that all goes together in Grim Dawn, which is why I literally, like, I love the game. There are so many different areas you can go to and farm. It's almost like you're playing a Korean grind game, except the game's not Korean, and it's not an MMO, which I think it's done in such a beautiful way. So the end game for Grim Dawn, to answer it simply, is basically trying to perfect all your gear, trying to get all your best in slot legendaries, and there are a lot of legendaries. And then obviously after you get that, there is a secret ultimate quest that you can try to do. My Conjurer could not kill the boss. And then there's a couple other people like Mogrigen, etc. And I would tell you that, personally speaking, if you are an action role-playing game lover like myself, this game will easily sink 100 hours into your time. And this is before any big expansions come out, because the game just got released a few months ago. So, you know, if you want to pay the $25, it's totally up to you. I personally think it's worth it, but I don't want to make the decision for you. Does that make sense at all? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Hope, you know, this kind of explains a little bit of what Grim Dawn is. And hope to see you guys in the future. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, you can always catch me streaming live at twitch.tv/Pohx. Hope you guys have a wonderful time, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.